Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on SpectroConnect, powerful free software for the SpectroDens. My name is Allison Lacacha, and I'm the marketing manager at TeshCon USA, and I am delighted to have Jinkai Kian here with us today to present this webinar. This is the second webinar in our free Lunch and Learn webinar series. We hope you're enjoying all the webinars that we're presenting, and we hope you plan to join us for future webinars as well. In a second, I am going to hand over to Jinkai to present, but please make sure to type in all of your questions in the questions pane in the GoToWebinar panel. We will be addressing them all right after Jinkai's presentation. And without further ado, I am going to hand it over to Jinkai.
Right. All right, Allison, thank you. I just start to share my screen. Can you see my display okay now? Yes,
it's perfect.
All right, great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends on where you are. Hi, this is Jinkai at TeshCon. I'm the application engineer. Over the past few years at TeshCon, there are many requests from our customer regarding how to utilize the SpectroConnect software to help their print production process. And the TeshCon SpectroConnect software is free for download off our website. And then, it comes with many good useful features. So today I'm gonna pick a few of them. Those are the most popular ones, and then show you how we can use, and then what kind of information it will provide us. So the first one I'd like to start is the export. So now if I click on the export, you will see you will have to configure what kind of data you want to export out of your SpectroDens or other TeshCon devices. So right now I have my SpectroDens connected here, and then if I take some readings, so right now it will be spot readings, and you will see those readings, they are saved on my device memory. And right now, here's my configuration for the data export, and you will see the data automatically goes into the export window here. A lot of people actually combining the export tool here with a software like Microsoft Excel. So today I have some Excel template ready to use. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take some quick scans, and the data will be plotted into the graph here, as well as, of course, you're going to see the numeric values on the left side. So just bear with me a minute. So I just scanned a very short control strip of a cyan ink, and as you can see, each data point comes into Excel automatically. And if we have a graph, system set up, you can see the display here as well. So that's just one way how we utilize the export tool in the SpectroConnect software to get any data you'd like to see or use in some other third-party software. And you can pretty much actually have a template set up either in the Excel or even Word document, and then just make sure you have the export tool opened at the back end, and then you can open the Excel or Word document in the front end and start taking readings. So they will be transmitted into the Excel application here. So that's pretty much about the export tool. One more thing I'd like to show you is the data structure or the configuration here can be saved as a setting. So let's say now I want to load a different configuration. So I just go to my folder and open that structure as a new file. So now I'm ready to take new readings, and you will see different kinds of data will be output using the new structure. So that's the export. Next, I'd like to talk about the media wedge. So if you're currently using the UGA-FOGA media wedge on your proofer, they can be directly measured into this tool, and the result will be displayed. Depends on the print quality compared to certain reference value we have selected here. So to change to a different reference value, you can just click the button here, and then the system come with the FOGA and some IFRA reference set, so you can just choose from the list here. And I believe if you modify the TXT reference set here, you can actually, in theory, come up with your custom reference print condition and then use for comparison here. So I do have the media wedge here, and they have different versions. So I'm using the version 3, and you can see that format is selected under the format drop-down list as well. If you use a different format, you can just choose different options here. Okay, so I just scanned the first row, and as you can see, the data they are also displayed in the table view in the second tab. So once you finish scanning all 3 rows here, you will get the final evaluation result screen. You can choose to print a report, or you can directly print as a label, so you can stick it to your contract proof for your customer to review. So that's the media wedge. The third one is the transfer curve. So this tool is designed to display dot size or screen patch data for adjusting your RIP curve, combining with the SpectroDens printing curve or printing curve SATB function. The user can measure all screen patches into their corresponding tab to visualize the data. So you can see we have KCMY and 4 spot colors you can choose from. And today I'm gonna scan the TASHCON test chart. So let me just open the preview of this test chart. So on the right side of this test chart, we have some control strip for each ink. So we have KCMY, 300% CMY, and as well as a spot color green. So I'm gonna scan a few strips here, and then you will see the data will come into the table here. So you can configure your reference values and target values. So for example, if you wish to add more tint patches, you can definitely enable in this window, and then they will be added to the table. Or if you wish to use the setting from your SpectroDens, just make sure you go to the printing curve function. So let me just show you what I have on my device. So right now on my SpectroDens, I'm under the printing curve function. And then if you go down to the bottom right corner, hit enter. and hit enter on the printing curve setup. You can also configure what kind of screen patch you wish to measure here as well. So once you are in this functions on your device, all the settings will be transferred into the software. Okay. All right. So once you see this screen, that means we are ready to scan, or you can of course do spot reading. So I'm gonna do the black ink first. Let me switch back to the transfer curve. So for black, yes, we are ready. Okay, so here's the data coming from my SpectroDens, and then depends on the target value and the tolerance you have, it will display the data accordingly. So once you finish scanning, you can go to a different color, or if you have multiple strip of the same color, you can of course have more scans under one ink. So next, I'm gonna just scan a magenta strip quickly. So the software is smart enough to figure out if this is a new ink or this is the same ink we just scanned, and it will automatically jump to a different tab. So in this case, it should go to the magenta tab automatically. So I'm gonna go scan right now. Okay, so here's my magenta. As you can see, it jumps to the correct tab by itself. So besides the table view, you can also choose to look at the transfer curve, or I guess more, importantly, is the docking view. You can even adjust the scaling or the display ratio here. So if you think, in this case, plus minus 50 is too much, we can just go to, let's say, the auto, and the graph will be resized automatically. It depends on the measurement data. So that's for processed inks. So now if you also control your screen for the spot color, just make sure that on the SpectroDens, you go to the printing curve STV. So the printing curve STV is designed to measure the spot color screen control strip. So now I'm under printing curve STV, and now if I go back to the transfer curve, you can just pick any one of these spot color tab. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to use the S2 here, and now the workflow is exactly the same. You just once you see the color bar or display on your device, you can go ahead and do your scanning, and once it's completed, you will see the data comes in as well. You can also choose to use a different color to represent the measured curve in this case. So that's the transfer curve. If you have the SpectroConnect software installed on the same PC where you have the RIP software, that's great. You just go to the table view, and then you can actually copy and paste the correction column information directly onto the clipboard, and then paste into your RIP table editor or something like that. If the SpectroConnect software is installed on a separate PC where you have the RIP software, that's okay too. You just go to File, and then we do have the RIP export. We support Harlequin, ASCII RIP, as well as if your RIP software supports the ISO 18620 format, you can also export and import the measurement RIP data, measurement curve data into your RIP software for generating a new curve. So that's the transfer curve. Next one I'd like to talk about is the spectral chart. So probably one of the most popular custom chart our customers using is either the P2P or the ITA. So the spectral chart allows users to pretty much create a custom color chart. And today I'm gonna use the P2P 51. So under the target, we're gonna select the P2P 51 TTG file, which includes how many patches we're gonna scan and the sequence of the measurement. So I believe there's a format issue with my TTG file, and I'm gonna restart my my SpectroConnect software. Allison, do we have any question comes in? Allison?
Hi, Jinkai. Sorry about that. We have a bunch of questions coming in. So if it's okay, I'll just read a few of those questions. And we also have Steve Rankin here with us, Director of Product Development for TeshCon USA, so he might be able to pipe in as well with some answers. So the first question that we have is how to get the color space in Excel. Can it be exported using SpectroConnect?
Well, so for the export, you are basically selecting what kind of data from the device. I'm assuming the question is more about the color wheel graph, if I understand correctly. So that's something you will actually have to do inside of Excel. You have to put some algorithm or some simple coding in Excel to display the data points in the LAB graph.
So, Jinkai, are you back up and running? Should we hold off on the rest of the questions?
Sure. Yeah, I think now the software is ready, and I should be able to load the. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's great. I'm ready to continue.
Okay.
Yep. So this is a TTG file we built for P2P 51, and it's a great test chart used by RD Alliance G7 verification. So once you import the TTG format or the template, you need to tell the software how it's printed on your proofer or your press. So I know the P2P I have here has 25 patches per row, and each patch is about 8 millimeter. So you just punch in the value here. Now it will display the chart correctly. Next, we can go to the measure tab on the top. So I have my P2P ready here, and I'm gonna actually show you my screen. I'm sorry, show you my webcam, and you can see how I place the device and then take the reading for the P2P. So as the software indicates, it has the black square flashing on the first patch of the red overprint. So this is where I'm going to start. So I'm gonna go to the scan mode on my SpectroDens and place my device aperture on the first patch of the overprint red. Push down the green button and then hold it. Go all the way across to the last patch of the first row. Now, as you can see, the data has come in for the first row. And now the black square is flashing on the first patch of the second row, which is a overprint green. So I'm just going to follow the same procedure. Go across the chart and release my measurement button. So once you scan every rows here, you will see the square will be on the last patch. Now you can go back to the first job tab, either create a TIFF file just to show what the chart looks like, or you can actually export your measurement. And I believe the format will be a TXT. So all the measurement data will come in as a TXT, and then you can import this TXT file to some third-party software for further analysis. So this is a P2P 51, and if you have a custom chart, you will need to build a custom TTG, which is pretty straightforward, and then load it into the SpectroConnect for taking scans and export the data. The next one I'd like to talk about is this actually being asked many times, almost on a weekly basis. How do we manage color libraries on the SpectroDens through the software here? So there are many ways. So I conclude there 2 or 3 different categories. So the first one is you can save the measurement from your SpectroDens and into a color book. So for example, right now I have 138 measurement on my device, and I want to save some of them as my reference color. So what you can do is go to File, New Color Library, or Control N, or you can go to the little screen on the right side, right mouse click, you can choose the New Color Book. So now you have your first new color book. You can rename the book. And once you have the book, and then you can pretty much choose any color you would like to use from the left side and drop into the window here. So once you finish creating all your, or transferring all your measurement into the color book, of course, just like the color book, you can rename the color name. For your reference colors. So later it will be easier for you to see what color I'm using to compare to my sample or see the delta E information. So that's the first way. You just measure a physical sample and transfer into a color book. Once you finish with your color book here, you just drag the color book by its name and drop into the color book window here. And so this little window shows you how many color books are ready to be uploaded to your instrument or your SpectroDens. So I'm going to hit start. So the start button is starting the uploading process, and you will get a pop-up message on your device. Once the message goes away, so let me switch back to the device display. And if I go to the color book here, and you will see here's the color book I just uploaded to the device. So that's the first way how we create color books and upload to the device. The second option is you can import or open a digital library file. So if you happen to have a Tashcon color book in the TCP format. You can just find that file and then open it here. The rest is pretty much the same. You just drag the color book by its name and drop into the little window here, hit start. Or we also support the CXF format. So if you have a color library in the CXF format, for example, I have the a color book called brand colors in the CXF. And here's all the individual colors I wish to use on my device. You can open here and drag drop into the little window, hit start to upload. That's the second option. The third method to create a color book is you can actually start with CIE lab values. So let's say I don't have anything, I don't have ink drawdowns, no proof, no digital library files. You can always create the color manually by putting the LAB values. So I'm going to call it CLab colors. So this is a new color book I created, and at the little bottom window here, I just right mouse click and go to new measurement or Control M. So now in this window, I need to put information such as the color name, of course, and you will need to put the LAB value, and also configure the measurement settings here. Once you're ready, hit OK. So this color will be added to the color box here. You can add as many colors you like, and you can also use the, so let me back up. You can also use the new measurement set if you have a list of colors, just to make sure you follow the formatting here. So the color name, space, L value, space, A value, space, B value. You can add many colors here in the list, and then hit OK to upload all of them together. Again, once you're ready, just drag the color book by its name and drop into the little window here, and then hit start. So now my device should have 3 color books loaded here. And I'm going to go back to the CLab to see all the color books. So for now on, you can choose to use any color books on a device. So that's how we manage color libraries and upload to our device. The next one I'd like to talk about is some very fundamental settings under the SpectroDens settings tab. So we have a lock device function here. If you are sharing your SpectroDens or Tashcon device with your colleague, and you do not want the device setting to be changed, what you can do is go to the lock device function here. So for example, I wish nobody changed my device settings, so I can uncheck them, and the measurement condition should stay the same for all the measurements, so I can uncheck them all. So you can customize the device function here by enabling or disabling, so nobody can use a different measurement condition or settings that you like that you don't want to use. So that's the lock device function. And so now I have 2 boxes unchecked, and if I go back to my device, I will show you quickly what it looks like after I disable those functions. So now my device settings and measurement conditions, they're grayed out, and I cannot even go to those two places. So that's the device lock and unlock. The last but not least is the device update. So once in a while, we will release new device firmware for new feature or bug fixes. You can download the firmware from the website and then go to device update and choose the new firmware file to load on your Tashcon device. And also, for example, the Tashcon SpectroDens come with 3 different levels: the basic, advanced, and premium. So if you purchase a Tashcon SpectroDens basic and later on you wish to upgrade to an advanced model or even a premium to access more color features, you will just get a license from us and then upgrade your license using the button on the right side. So that's the device update tab. I think that's pretty much everything I have in my list for today. So I think, Alison, we can move on to the Q&A session.
That's great, Junkai. Thank you so much for a really great presentation. We have a lot of questions coming in. So I am going to give myself controls back, and we will move right into the Q&A session.
Perfect. Thanks, Alison.
Let's see here. So the first question that we have is, does the export function allow to save the measured data in CGATs or CXF formats?
Well, so the export, the user actually is responsible for configuring the format. So the user needs to choose what kind of data to export and then how to display the numeric value. So I'm not sure, what exactly the CGATS data looks like, but if you can follow the CGATS, format and then configure your export structure, I think it's doable. But there's no direct, CGAT format export function in the software. You have to manually configure your structure.
And the next question, FOGRA media wedge function in SpectroConnect software, is it available for advanced or the premium device?
Yeah, so the media wedge inside of SpectroConnect is available once you plug in your SpectroDens Advanced and Premium. There's on the SpectroDens itself, it also have a media wedge. So those are very similar tools you can use. So yes, you need to plug in your device first, and then you should be able to use the media wedge.
Do all these functions also work with the previous version of the SpectroDens?
So I assume the previous version is the SpectroDens 3. The answer is yes. And besides a few differences on the device between the SpectroDens 3 and 4, I think the software is pretty much the same across all devices.
And the next question, can you import ISO targets in printing curves?
Printing curves, ISO targets. Well, I think this question is about the transfer curve. So yes, so the transfer curve, if you combine this with the device printing curve or the printing curve SCTV, there are ISO curve preloaded. So you just need to make sure you have the ISO curve selected on device level, and then use the transfer curve. So all the reference and target value will be transferred from your device into the software.
Great. And the next question, can the SCTV option be used on CMYK inks as well as spot color inks?
Well, yes. So the main difference between the printing curve and the printing curve SCTV is the calculation at the background is different. So traditionally, for measuring KCMY printing curve, we calculate those information based on the density. But for SCTV, we do not use density at all. We actually use colorimetric values. So if you wish to use the printing curve SCTV on KCMY, I think that's totally fine, but you will need to make sure that you are not comparing to any historical data for the KCMY, which are calculated based on density.
And the next question coming in is, where do we get the TTG from?
Yeah, so we have, so the software come with some TTG file by default. So once you install the SpectroConnect, and then you can go to your C drive and the folder. I believe it's program. So it's in your C drive, and then there's a folder that includes all the TTG files. So let me just double check. So on my laptop, it's under C drive users, public, and then public documents, Tashcon GmbH, and Tashcon SpectroConnect. So again, once you install the SpectroConnect software, you will find those CTG. It's preloaded. For custom color chart, what I suggest is you can copy one of those default TTG file, open those file, and then edit to include your custom patches with the reference LAB value, and then save as a new TTG file for your custom workflow.
And actually, while we're on the TTG topic, Jin-Kai, and you may have just addressed this, but another question came in: how do you build a TTG file? Okay.
So, Alison, can you pass the screen share back to me? So actually, I do have some TTG file I can share, and we can look inside what's going on here. Great, thank you, Alison. So let me go to, so just bear with me a second. I'm trying to locate a TTG file I can use. Okay, so this is one of the TTG file we have. For this particular one, it's built for scanning the ID Alliance 3-row wedge for G7. So as you can see, there's some common headers, and the most important starts begin data format. You will need to make sure that the correct number of patches, and also the name of the patch, the CMYK combination, as well as the reference LAB value you wish to use. So once you finish every patch in this file, you can save that as a new TTG, and then import into the SpectroConnect software.
great.
Yeah, so I think you can take the screen share back if you want.
Okay. Yep, I will do that. The next question is, can we measure ESI 2002 test chart and export as ICC profile?
So I'm assuming in this case, we need to load a TDG file for the ITA chart first. And then once you scan all the patches in the ITA chart, or even, for other alliance, they have a TC1617, or they call it ITA 0.5. Once you measure every patch, you export the data into a TXT. And then I'm not sure which application supports converting the TXT into a ICC profile. So that's outside of the SpectroConnect.
And a question along those lines, can we add the new IT8 7.5 chart?
Yeah, so it's the same as you build a P2P or any custom chart. You just include all the patches and then their corresponding LIB value. It's going to take a while, but it's totally doable.
Let's see, a lot more questions coming in. The next one is, can you show tolerances and target values in the curve module?
In the transfer curve, yes. So so the target value and tolerance either comes from the device setting. So as I mentioned before, you can choose the ISO standard curve. So all the reference and target value will come in automatically. Or if you wish to use your own custom, target tolerance value, you just configure that in the transfer curve software. After you measure all the screen patches, compare your measurement data with the reference or the target value, it will show if it's outside of the tolerance or it's within the tolerance. And the software, the transfer curve tool, actually will also generate a correction curve for you automatically. Depends on the setup.
And the next question is, the P2P test chart function in SpectroConnect software available for advanced or premium device?
Yeah, so this is actually not called a P2P function. This is called a Spectral chart tool in the software. So I'm just using a P2P as an example here. You can measure any custom chart or the ITA using the Spectral chart tool. So again, P2P 51 is just one of the example. A lot of our customers they are using. And for advanced or premium device, there's no problem. You just connect the device and start measure.
And the next question, what certification we measure in M1 mode, have you selected the same or is it in M0 mode?
I'm not sure which particular tool this question is about, but for using the SpectroConnect software, you will need to pick the corresponding M condition. For example, if you are measuring a P2P or ITA for CRPC6 or any new reference print condition after 2013, you will have to make sure you are using M1 mode. If you are measuring compared to a Greco 2006 or swap, then you will need to make sure your device is using the M0.
And the next question is, how do you import the Pantone library?
This is a great question. I kind of expect somebody ask during the webinar. So regardless where the color library comes from, like I said, we have 3 different ways to import libraries. We can take a measurement on those Pantone fan deck you may have. So if you always print certain amounts of Pantone colors for your client, you can request color proofs from a customer, or you can measure the Pantone book if your customer is okay with it. So once you measure all those samples, you can transfer them into a color book and then upload to a device. Or if you can get any color library file, digital file across your supply chain, you can definitely ask your customer or ask any one of your vendor to see if they can provide you with such digital library. The last option we have is if you happen to know the LEB value of those special colors, you can always manually type into the software and upload to your device.
Thank you for that, Jinkai. And another question, how can I add just one new custom color to an existing color book on the Spectro?
Yeah, so if you already have that color book on your device, you will actually drag this color book out of the device into the color book window on the right side. So it will display all the colors you currently have under this color book. Then you can start take a new reading and transfer into the new book, or just typing LEB value for this new color. So once you finish modifying this color book, you can just drag the color book on the right side back to the window on the left side and hit start button. So this is how you update your current color book on a device.
And the next question, can we load Wedge into the SpectroDens for scanning?
I'm sorry, Alison, your voice just kind of cut out. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sorry. Yes, the question is, can we load an ID Alliance control wedge into the SpectroDens for scanning? Yes.
So on the SpectroDens, we have a tool called Media Wedge. So under the Media Wedge, you can actually choose a color book to use with. And we do have some color books that are built for the ID Alliance serial wedge for each CRPC printing condition. So once you upload those color books, you go to Media Wedge on the device and then choose the printing condition you wish to use and start scanning. And if you wish to get those color books from us, definitely reach out through email so we can reply with the attachment.
Thank you so much, Jinkai. I think that wraps up our question and answer session. There are some individual questions that came in that we'll be reaching out to people to just address those questions if they were specifically related to individuals. But I do want to thank everyone for attending and let you know that we do have another webinar in this Lunch and Learn series, and it's coming up on May 12th at 12 noon. And the topic is on the SpectroVision, so please make sure to join us for that webinar as well. You can see all of our Lunch and Learn webinars as well as our webinar archive series on our webinar page under resources on the TeshCon USA website. And I hope everyone is well and safe, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks again, Jinkai, for a great presentation.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.